Welcome back to Physics with Miyoshi. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about thermodynamics. We're going to talk about the second law of thermodynamics and the third law of thermodynamics just a little bit. And then we will bring it back to the first law just as a reminder. So what is the second law of thermodynamics? Second law of thermodynamics says that heat flows spontaneously from one substance that's at a higher temperature to another substance at a lower temperature. And this never flows the other way around. It never flows from cold to hot. So when you get cold feet in the morning, it's not because your feet get the cold from the floor. It's because your feet are giving up their heat to the floor, and that makes you feel cold. So it's the same kind of thing when we have an iceberg. That's my big picture of my iceberg under the water. And I have a little volcano over here. The volcano is really hot, and it's got a lot of heat energy, so the heat energy must flow from the hotter object or the hotter substance to the cooler substance, and not the other way around. It does not flow from the cold to the hot. So even as the lava cools and becomes rock, it's giving up its heat to the surroundings, and if there was an iceberg there, it would be giving it up to that. The same thing is true if we have a glass of water with ice in it. The water is warmer than the ice, and so it gives its heat to the ice, and not the ice does not give its cold to the water. Again, it's the process is always that the heat must flow from what's warmer to what's cooler. And again, like if you were like the example of your feet, if you're had your cold feet on the floor and it's giving up its heat to the ground because the ground is colder, that's an example of a thermal process, the second law. And if you then decide you want to put your feet up by the fire is giving its heat off to your feet to warm them, again, because of the second law of thermodynamics. The third law of thermodynamics says that you cannot go from you can't reach absolute zero. You cannot take a system down to absolute zero, and it says in a finite number of steps, but you can just say that you can't go down to absolute zero. And if we think about the first law of thermodynamics, the reason why is we had to put so much work into it that it would be impossible to do. So third law of thermodynamics merely says that we can't get to absolute zero. First law, again, is my change in internal energy is the heat energy minus the work, and again, it's just a matter of the law of conservation of energy. And again, the second law of thermodynamics just makes so much sense because it's what we see every day. The heat must flow from something that's warmer to something that's colder, and you don't get cold, you give up your heat. So that's the essence of thermodynamics. The first law, the second law, and the third law, and the zeroth law is in there too. The one about the equilibrium and knowing that if two systems are in thermal equilibrium with a third system, then they must be in equilibrium with each other. So the laws of thermodynamics, again, a lot of them are fairly common sense, or at least the second law is common sense. It's what we see every day. So thanks again for tuning in, and hope to see you back for more Physics with Miyoshi.